My whole life, I have never been able to eat or drink by mouth, and here is why. Today, I'm going to inform you about gastrostomy tubes, what its purpose is for, and why I needed one. Some of you may know a little about gastrostomy tubes. This speech will give you more information about it. Some of you may know a lot about gastrostomy tubes. You may have one yourself, or you may know someone that has it. This speech will allow you to learn something new about gastrostomy tubes and hear how I have had to deal with it my whole life. I've had a gastrostomy tube my whole life and have had to learn how to do daily activities with a tube. This past year, I have done lots of research and read lots of websites about gastrostomy tubes. Today, I'll talk about why I needed a gastrostomy tube at 9 months old and how I dealt with it that young. I will talk about how I dealt with it when I was a toddler and how I'm dealing with it now as a young adult. When I was 9 months old, I was sick very often. I got high fevers, and anytime I ate, I vomited and or just didn't want to eat because I was very sick. Due to this, I had to go to the hospital very often. Here is a picture of me when I was in the hospital. The doctors finally figured out that I had silent pneumonia, which means that I aspirated on any food I had through my mouth. Due to this, they had to give me a nasogastric tube, which is a tube that goes in your nostril, down into your throat, and down into your stomach. This gives you the nutrients that you need. According to stlukeskc.org, kids need short-term help getting nutrients or medicine, or they're not growing properly on regular food. They either have trouble swallowing, have an infection, or recovering from surgery, and can't eat for a short time, and they may need extra nutrients in addition to regular feedings. That was last accessed October 18th, 2020. We have just talked about me when I was 9 months old. Now let's talk about me when I was a toddler. When I was 1, I got a gastrostomy tube. Gastrostomy tube is a tube that goes into your stomach. Here is a picture of a gastrostomy tube. This part is the part that goes inside your stomach, and that balloon right there, it's filled up, and that's what holds it into your stomach so it doesn't just fall out. This part is the part that's actually being able, you can actually see it. The rest is all in your stomach. When I got the gastrostomy tube, I had to eat often because I was very tiny due to not being able to eat. So I had to eat every 3 to 4 hours and continuously through the night. When I was 2, I had to get lots of different tests done, which involved me going to different state hospitals. I went to Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Cincinnati, Ohio. According to discoveries.childrens.org, when a patient is diagnosed with aspiration via VFSS, members of the aerodigestive team discussed the diagnosis and arranged for direct admission to the Impact Gastroenterology Service, where attendings are all educated on the importance of trying to initially maintain NG and oral feedings rather than G2 placement, meaning that we had to do the VFSS testing before they place a G-tube into you. G-tubes are long-term, so if you are able to pass a test, then they try to make sure that you get therapy, and make sure that you can eat before taking it out. That was last accessed on October 18th, 2020. When I was 3 years old, I tried doing sports, but according to tubefed.com, you have to use caution with sports, such as football, baseball, or any sport where you're likely to run into other players, a ball, or land roughly. These sports are not recommended because they can dislodge a tube or irritate a stomatocyte. So due to that, I wasn't able to do many sports, and also because I couldn't drink anything through my mouth, so I couldn't take a break even when I got thirsty. I would just have to keep going or put water through my G-tube. So in that aspect, sometimes the tube affected me. We have just talked about me when I was a toddler. Now let's talk about me now. Now that I'm a young adult, I've had gastrostomy feeding tube problems where it wasn't in my stomach, it became in my abdominal wall. Due to this, I had to go to the hospital again multiple times before they figured out exactly what was wrong. I actually have a picture of my stomach with my old tube site and my new tube site, since I had to get surgery to get a new tube site. This visual aid may be graphic to some viewers, so if you would like, you can close your eyes. I will let you know when it's safely to open your eyes. Here is the picture. This is the new G-tube site, and this is the old G-tube site. That is an 1.5 inch scar because they had to go in and take out scar tissue and inflammation out of my site. I have now put the picture away. It is safe to open your eyes. I now have passed a test to be able to eat through my mouth. The test that I did was barium swallowing. The barium swallow test is an imaging test that allows doctors to see when you eat through your mouth. I am now able to start therapy, and I am able to drink liquids, and now I'm going to be able to start doing soft foods. We have just looked at how I have dealt with having a gastrostomy tube my whole life. We discussed me when I was 9 months old, a toddler, and now as a young adult. After not being able to eat or drink by mouth my whole life, and finally being approved to eat and drink by mouth, I have a whole new journey ahead of me. Even though I had a gastrostomy tube my whole life, I managed to not let it take over my life. Thank you.